a monster.
I'm your number one fan.
Now clear your minds. Knows what scares you. It has from the very beginning.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
It's been informed that zombies have entered the building. They're at the door. They're coming in.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. I'm your host as always, Corey, and alongside me is my good pal, Tony. What's going on, brother? How you been?
Not much, Corey. How you been, bro?
It's going. Life is good.
Life is good. Life is grand.
Working all the time.
Hey, that's what life is, man. Work, grind.
Yep. So what's new, man? You recently watched some movies.
Yeah.
We talked about it. We're not going to get into a full discussion about it on here.
Right, yeah. We did me and my brother and his girlfriend and a buddy of ours went to the drive-in Big Mo, which anybody local to South Carolina, man, go out to the Big Mo, support the Big Mo. It's awesome. It's one of the only drive-ins we have around here. It's so much fun. It's a blast to be at. But we took in the double feature of Halloween Ends and Terrifier 2, which was really, really cool. Can't believe I saw both of those films at the drive-in. That's wild. Truly feels like Grindhouse back in the day. Just fun stuff. And yeah, that was a blast getting to do that with that group. Special. It was really special.
Awesome. I'm envious of it. Quite jealous. I ended up watching Halloween Ends here at the house. I think my wife was actually going to take me to go see Terrifier 2, and she was like, "Well, I know that you want to see this movie and everything," and I was like, "Yeah, but it's really not up your alley. You would not have a good time watching this." And she's like, "I don't know. If you like it, I might like it." I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's okay. I'll just wait for it to come out. It's cool. It's cool. I don't have to do that." Because she was like wanting to go on like a kind of like a date night, like, romantic, and Terrifier 2 is nothing romantic, I'm sure.
Yeah, dude, it's a perfect date night movie, man. Absolutely.
Oh, well, then I guess I missed out on a perfect opportunity.
You did. No, it's a long one too, man. It's well over 2 hours. It's like I know we were talking a little bit pregame, but I will say it's probably what I would say is the most ambitious slasher film I've ever seen in my life. They throw some stuff out at you with that film that's just like, whoa. You just really have to let it sink in and just, oh man. But I'll go ahead and say I fucking loved it. I had a blast with it. It was so much fun. The Art the Clown, the character of Art, he's going to be an icon. I can feel it. I know it.
I think so.
This movie's getting buzz in the theaters for it being such a low budget film. People are going to go see it. They're going to see it. They're going to want more of it. I think people are gravitating to his character and the uniqueness of his character and how he looks and how he acts and just
he's kind of a lovable character.
Mm-hmm.
Like just going off of the first movie and how just charismatic and just fun he was.
Yeah.
It was almost kind of like a cat and mouse game with him. I don't know. I dug it. I liked it. So yeah. I can't wait to see the second one. I can't believe that, and actually now that you mention it, because I think there was only 2 viewings at the movie theaters near us, and it was like 4:30 and then 7:30, and that was it. But the cinemas are well open past midnight, so I don't know. Like, yeah, it was probably a long ass movie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a long one, man, for sure.
I caught myself wondering that too. I was like, why does it only have 2 playtimes? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that says it right there.
Lengthy.
I'm looking forward to looking at it.
Yeah, dude. When you check it out, it's on Screenbox. I know that's a new service, or it might be an old service. I'm not sure. I heard about it, saw it online. But yeah, if you want to look into it that way and see it early before it even gets a physical release, I mean, you can check it out that way. But that's the only other way I know it, besides the theaters, of course. But
okay.
it's theatrical run's probably going to be coming to an end soon because it's after Halloween now, and like I said, they were trying to ramp it up into Halloween, so one more weekend. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully, who knows? It might keep it hanging around. It's still getting a little bit of traction, and it's still making money. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's one character that kind of appeals to both audiences, right? You get your hardcore, diehard, horror fans, and then you got your mainstream audience. So I think it appeals, kind of like a Jason or a Freddy for that matter, or even a Michael Myers for that matter.
It amazes me that a movie like this appeals to a mainstream audience, but somehow it's working because there are a lot of people who want to see it. So I don't know. It's an anomaly almost of a film. It really is. It's a slasher film. It's over 2 hours long, and it takes chances, it takes risks, and it's ambitious, man. And it's appealing to mainstream fan. I don't know. It's just like an anomaly. It's like something that's not supposed to happen, but I'm so glad it is happening. That's all I can
And
say.
we've waited so long for it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
'Cause there was talk about Terrifier 2 for 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
Well, damn near after the first one dropped.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think COVID kind of shortened that. Had a lot to do with them delaying it and stuff like that. I think it had a lot to do with it. So I'm just glad it actually came to be, and then it came to theaters, and then I was actually able to see it in the drive-in. I'm so happy about that.
I was really surprised it went to theater.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to go, maybe streaming services first before it goes to physical media.
It's kind of funny in a way that the double feature of Halloween Ends and then Terrifier 2, it's almost like you have the old guard going into the new guard. It's like a passing of the torch almost in a sense. I don't know. It's really interesting, that double feature.
That's cool. That's a neat way to look at it.
I mean, that's how I looked at it when I was watching. I was like, this is pretty funny. It ends with what's going on with Halloween, and then it just Terrifier 2 starting to build up, and art's starting to get popular. So I mean, it's really cool, man. It's really really neat how that's going on, and how that's almost like a transitional thing in horror. Only hope, anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tony, what are we covering tonight, man?
Buddy, I am thrilled. I'm excited. I can't wait to dive into this one. We are covering Lucio Fulci's classic City of the Living Dead, 1980 City of the Living Dead, aka Gates of Hell. It's got a bunch of different titles, but most will know it as City of the Living Dead. And I got my my DVD here, which is, sorry for the glare, everybody. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite poster arts of all time. I absolutely adore this artwork. It's absolutely incredible. So ominous looking, and it fits the whole feel of the movie. And then this is the Blu-ray artwork, which is also really really dope. I love that. Just amazing artwork all around for this release, for this film. But yeah, it came out, like I said, in 1980. Part of Lucio Fulci's Gates of Hell trilogy, with House by the Cemetery, of course, The Beyond, and this City of the Living Dead. So it is part of unofficial trilogy, well, official trilogy almost. I mean, it is the Gates of Hell trilogy. So it's one of those films, man. It's Italian. We are covering Italian zombies. I think we're doing that this month. I think we have decided to really delve into a little bit of spaghetti zombie film, so to speak.
Yeah. I think I mentioned to you that I wanted to do zombie films, and then I don't know, just somehow, some way, it just kind of turned into Italian zombie, which I'm fine with that.
Absolutely okay with that. No problem. I can talk Italian horror all day, every day, and then Italian zombie films. Bring it on. Let's do it.
Which this was pretty much almost like a first time watch for me.
Really?
I had seen it one time before, so this
Really?
was really just a secondary watch.
Wow.
But it had been years since I've seen it, so I was quite happy to revisit it and watch it again.
Yeah, that's crazy. I thought you've seen it more than once. Wow.
Well, this was the second time watch.
Yeah, dude, I think I've seen this movie well over 10 times. I've seen this movie so much, man. It's crazy how much I've seen this, but yeah, I mean, it's you want to get into the nitty gritty of it, the plot and everything, and start
Well,
talking about that.
folks, before we do, I didn't get to check, and I don't. The only place that I would think that this would be on would be Shudder. I don't think it would be really anywhere else. Unless, did you check anywhere?
I think it's on Prime. I know it's somewhere. I did look into
Yeah.
it. We were supposed to record this episode a week ago, so
Mhm.
I did look it up because I do want to do that for our listeners out there and everybody that way they can watch the films with us and then kind of join in on discussions. I want to be more up to date on where you can watch the films if you don't have them already. So I did look that up. I think it was Prime. I know you can see. I know it's available. I know that for a
Mhm.
fact. See that. So whether it's Prime or on Shudder or it could be on Tubi, one way or another, it's out there. So
Yeah. I think I did see a copy of it actually and it was the Blue Underground copy on Amazon, or not Amazon, YouTube for rent. I think it was like $2.99 to rent.
highly worth it. I mean, very worth
Yeah.
it. That's if you want to go that route, then check it out. That it's very worth it.
So, folks, we don't want to spoil this film for you. So, if you have the means to watch it, highly recommend you watch it before we jump, before you go through this review with us, because we will be getting into spoilers. I mean, Tony and I both have an outstanding love for Lucio Fulci's films, so we will be praising this film quite a bit, I imagine.
He is one of my favorite directors of all time. So to say that I love his filmography is an understatement. I adore everything Fulci's put out. I mean, even his lesser stuff to me still has charm, still has his Fulciisms, as we call it. He has his things that he loves to include in his films that, I mean, you've seen him so many times that it's like second nature. You just you're like, yep, that's part of his charm right there is that. I know a lot of
I
eye
think
trauma.
I was about to say we're mainly talking about eye horror at this point.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah, Fulci loved to do that. But the thing I love about Fulci is, and he does it in this film and many others, he is like a maverick almost, and almost like a rebel when it comes to filmmaking, because a lot of other filmmakers, when they're showing you the horror, they have a tendency to cut away. Well, Fulci doesn't cut away from shit. When you think he's going to cut away from something and you think there's no way he's going to show that, oh, damn, he showed it. And that's what I love about the man. He has balls, dude. He doesn't cut away shit. If you think something really, really fucked up is going to happen, he's going to show you how fucked up it is. And he's not going to shy away from it at all. And I respect the hell out of him for that.
Yeah, he definitely, when it comes to his films, he definitely pushed
The boundaries.
the boundaries in the buck, especially for early Italian horror cinema.
Absolutely, man. Fulci's gore is some of the best, man, of all time. Honestly, I mean, there's scenes in his films that when you look up like the greatest horror scenes of all time, many of his scenes pop up on those lists because they're so iconic. They're so amazing. I know we covered Zombie 2 before when we were doing the podcast, and we've talked about the shark versus zombie scene, the splinter in the eye scene, all this stuff like that. And then this movie right here has many scenes in it that are just iconic and that are just amazing. Matter of fact, there's one scene in particular. I have a cool little story about a coworker of mine who talked to me about it. He was trying to figure out what movie that was from. So when we get to that scene, I'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, I mean, even then, my mainstream coworker who never really watched stuff like that, he remembered the scene from when he was a kid. So I mean, just to show you how much of an impact it had on even just the mainstream audience. I mean, it's pretty.
I mean, that's why we get into horror. At least that's why I get into horror. it's very, we've said it time and time again. It's very nostalgic.
Yeah.
There's scenes from films where I was too young to understand, and I've even picked your brain about, and you're like, oh, that's this film, and sure shit. I remember watching as a young kid, Trilogy of Terror.
Yeah.
The little fucking doll,
The Zoomy doll. Yeah.
And I couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't remember what movie that was from. And then I mentioned it to you, and you're like, oh yeah, that's this movie. And yeah, sure shit,
I love that.
Yeah, it's so fun. But yeah, man, you want to get into the quick synopsis of this film?
Absolutely. Like I said, spoiler warning ahead. We just want to give out that disclaimer. We'll be discussing this film in its entirety and talking about a lot of things that happen in the plot. So if you haven't seen it, please stop this now, go check it out, come back. We do see it, join in on discussions. Maybe we'll bring up some things that you didn't think about or really just didn't pay attention to, or bring out some stuff that you might not even thought of. So yeah, just forewarned, spoiler warning. We'll get into some heavy spoilers going forward. So just throwing that out there. But the plot is interesting because essentially you have in the beginning of the film, you have a priest who's walking through a cemetery, very, very, very atmospheric. It almost like a metal video, like it's very heavy metal. And then the priest actually ends up hanging himself, which in turn causes one of the gateways to hell to open up. And we get cut back to, this is happening in Dunwich, which is in New England. And then we cut back to New York, where there's a seance happening, and one of the mediums sees this event happening, and she goes into a catatonic state because of what's happening. And it almost gives the impression to everyone around her that she is dead. So she is buried and comes back to life while she's being buried, which is fucking terrifying if you think about it. But that whole scene in itself we can talk about too. It's kind of, oh man, it's such an incredible moment in the movie. But she is actually saved by a reporter who's doing a little bit of digging around on the seance and what happened, because he heard that there was a death involved. So basically the two team up, go to Dunwich to kind of prevent the gates of hell from opening up and ending the world as we know it. Basic, simple plot. And you get characters introduced along the way, many of them in Dunwich who actually are confused on what's going on. They don't understand why all this crazy shit is happening around them. And they're trying to figure it out for themselves as well.
Yeah. That's a good way to explain it. Yeah, so first and foremost, that scene in the beginning, man, that was such a cool scine.
It's pretty
the priest hanging himself, like you said it perfectly. Like I was sitting there going, man, there's some really great atmosphere in the cemetery scene and everything, and I found myself kind of puzzled and wondering, where he left off of, because when it showed him hanging, there was like nothing at his feet. So I was like, how did he fucking jump to his death? Like I really found myself pondering that. But yeah, that honestly reminded me of like a Maiden like music video or something. Right. Like I could have seen that being like a Maiden music video or something.
Definitely heavy metal video, or definitely the whole premise of this movie in particular is very metal. So I mean, you see this artwork and stuff like that, you just think of heavy metal album art and stuff like that. It goes hand in hand, really. It's quite a jarring way to open the movie, because you just don't expect to see that. I mean, you're kind of caught off guard. You're like, whoa, this is just the opening scene of the movie. So you're like, what? I mean, this is happening. If a priest is hanging himself, what the fuck else can happen in this movie? Like, what? what are we in for? You know, it kind of just draws you in because you don't know what to expect.
Yeah. Yeah, and I dig the whole seance. I was kind of confused at first why the seance was happening, stuff like that, but I guess they kind of needed the storyline to change from Dunwich to America at this point. So,
Which there's a lot of that going on in the movie too. You go from being in New York to going back to New England, cutting back to New York, dealing with the characters in both settings, and how they're dealing with the situation in their own ways. It's really quite interesting how Fulci pulls that off.
yeah. But yeah, I was I was loving that the whole scene though with the whole seance thing. I almost got to feel like they were like fake mediums or something at first. I kind of felt that way watching that whole scene. That's what it felt like to me, like almost kind of like Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost, you know, how it was just like fake, you know.
Might be the only one that's ever made that correlation, Corey.
But I mean, I that's the feel I got because you know back then there was a whole lot of fake mediums coming out and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so that's that's the direction I thought it was going. And then it, you know, then there was like a homicide or whatever, and she was trying to explain the magic to the cops. You know, that's what I love that sequence where, you know, she's trying to explain what occurred and everything, and they're like, and she just fell over dead. And then the next thing you know, there was like flames just shooting up through the floor. And
But that's the thing about Fulci. This whole movie, you watch it as as someone who watches a lot of mainstream horror. Somebody watches the occurrences that happen in this movie, and they're going to be like, "That makes no sense. Why is this happening? What is this occurring for? Why is this happening?" But you have to understand something. Fulci's films almost feel like they're on a different plateau of existence. They feel like, I've heard the term nightmare logic, and that really is perfectly like what this is. This is like something you see in a nightmare. There's random occurrences that don't make any sense at all that you're like, well, wait a minute, why is that happening? But Fulci sets it up perfectly, because he's saying, like, listen, the gates of hell are opening. All the laws in what you think can happen and what will happen, they're out the window, because this is an occurrence that no one's ever seen or has been involved in. So anything can happen. I mean, there's quite a few instances, which we'll talk about, that is random. It's completely random. And it's just like, wait a minute, what is going on here? What is happening? But it's almost like you're so intrigued because of of the story and what's happening that you just don't. I mean, for me personally, I know Fulci's films. I know how he operates with his logic, and it doesn't bother me at all because I'm so invested in the story and what's going on. As simple as it may be, there's not an overarching complex narrative here. It's just simple. The gates of hell are opening. Shit's happening on Earth. A lot of it doesn't make any sense, but it's warranted because when the hell of the gates of hell opened up and we've dealt with, all the shit that's coming up from hell. I mean, never happened. So you really can't look at it like in terms of like straight narrative as far as logic is concerned, because it's really not. You just can't explain some of the occurrences that are happening.
Yeah. I wonder, with this film, like the way that you explain it, like the gates of hell opening up. I wonder if it goes back to Dawn of the Dead.
Right.
George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, the infamous line from Ken Foree. When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Right.
And you sit there and think about the apocalypse and what could happen if the apocalypse occurs, and basically is demons coming to earth. But in this situation, it's not demons, it's literally the dead.
Well, I looked at it too, and I was wondering, because you don't get a glimpse into his life, Father Thomas, the priest that does hang himself, I found myself wondering, what propelled him to do so? Was he possessed? Was he in a depression? Was it something where he had loss of faith, underlining demon? Anything could have been possible, and that's what makes it intriguing. Like, what could cause a man of God, a man of faith, to commit suicide and then go open the gates of hell? It's like you wrap your mind about why this is occurring, or what could have caused this to happen. At least I do, anyway. I really found myself intrigued.
Well, yeah, because there's no backstory there
Whatsoever. The first thing,
there's a plot hole there.
yeah. Well, I mean, it lets you build up in your mind a backstory yourself. It almost is like Fulci's like, you decide why he committed this act. You come up with your own conclusion on why he did what he did.
Yeah, but I mean, it could stem from him finding. They could have easily, like, wrote it out to where they showed like a backstory real quick of him finding literature that turned him just like that, or something.
It could have been anything, but I'm glad they didn't, because it helps the audience fill their own blanks and helps them come up with a reason for themselves.
Almost engaging the audience.
Engaging the audience, right. And having you kind of be your own film detective in a way, and come up with your own backstory for the character. And that's pretty cool. I like it too. I dig it. I think it was really cool. It's a hell of a way to open a film, and it gets you thinking as well. So, like I said, if that's the opening and that gets you intrigued and it gets you thinking about what's going on with this character, what's his backstory like, then you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're engaging the audience and making the audience interested in where this is gonna end up and where this is going. So I'm all for it. I think it's haunting. The atmosphere is great. When it cuts back to the seance is good. You have like all these random just characters that don't seem like they go together that are in the circle, and it's really, really cool. It really feels like it's real. And Mary, played by Catriona MacColl, is a regular Fulci. He's used her in the Gates of Hell trilogy. She's in The Beyond, of course, and in House by the Cemetery. So it's almost like her trilogy in a way, because she is mainly, or for the most part, the main character in all three films. So it's almost like her trilogy in a sense. But she's great. She plays Mary Woodhouse, the medium who dies from fear and shock of the seance, and then she is prematurely buried because she's not dead. And that scene where we meet Peter Bell, played by Christopher George, who is the reporter who tries to get access into, which is a little funny little scene. He tries to get access into the crime scene at the apartment where the seance occurred, and he's not getting anywhere with the cop. He's like, "Hey man, I'm not letting you in. If I let you in, my sergeant's going to be all up my ass. It's not happening." So he's like, "Oh, come on, can I persuade you in any way?" He's like, "You're talking into my deaf ear." I love that little back and forth between the two. There's a lot of, I'm guessing a lot of, on Christopher George's part, a lot of like going off script and kind of saying just a little line or something here and there, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that he says that Fulci wouldn't have wrote, or the screenwriter wouldn't have wrote, because
it ad-libbed a little.
Yeah, ad-libbed a little bit, because it wouldn't have made any sense to them, right? Like a line or a line of dialogue like that. So I think Christopher George brought a lot to that character, a lot of his own humor, and just a lot of his own ad-libbing to the character too. But anyway, so he, goes to the cemetery where Mary's buried, and you get these two, undertaker dudes who just couldn't give a shit less about their job. They don't care. They're just there to get a paycheck. And then as soon as they find out what time it is, they're out. They haven't even finished burying the coffin or anything like that. So
yeah, she
wakes up, and this scene's just brilliant. She wakes up and realizes that she's buried alive, which is fucking haunting, terrifying. Terrified of that. She finds out she's in the coffin. Of course, she's losing air because she's buried alive. So she fights so hard to get to claw through the casket, and she's like yelling and screaming as much as she can while she's losing the oxygen, of course. And it's a great lead up because like you hear it, and then Christopher George's character Peter, he kind of like thinks he's hearing something, but then he doesn't. Then he kind of walks away, and you're like, oh, and you keep, as an audience member, you're like, is he going to figure out when she's alive? It keeps you intrigued. It keeps you going. Like, find out. Is he going to find out? And she lets out after just being, I guess exhausted from clawing and fighting for so long. She kind of,
it's almost like she's starting to pass out, like she's running out of oxygen.
Like, oh no, poor Mary, she's going to be buried alive. It's awful. It's this, and that. But then she has just a little bit of whatever in her still to just belt out this like loud scream. And then Peter realizes it, and he's like horrified. So he takes a pickaxe. He takes the pickaxe to the casket, and I think it was like 2 or 3 times he just buries a pickaxe into the casket right near her face, and it's just like, oh, the tension from that.
Yeah, it was like
excruciating.
Oh man, I would have fucking shit in that casket that day.
And you're like, well, why doesn't she say, hey, don't do that, I'm alive in here? Like, just say something. But it's just like, what?
Well, like, I was just blown away by the fact that he went straight for the fucking head. He's like, well, fuck it, I need to get air right to her face. Let me just plow this.
I guess he's like, well, hell, she's already buried anyway. I mean, it's not matter. But yeah, dude.
I think maybe he was like, I need to make sure she's dead.
Well, I get it. I know what Fulci's doing. Like, he's building tension. He's
there was tension, yeah.
Yes, I know what he's doing, but in the context of the matter, it doesn't make any sense. Like, that whole scene's not probably going to go down that way. It's not. But I don't. Like I said, Fulci's logic, his nightmare logic, I don't second guess anything. I just go with the flow with it. It doesn't, like, you can have somebody watching it who's used to watching The Conjurings and this and that, like a Weekend Warrior kind of horror fan, and watch this and be like, that doesn't make any sense. This is stupid. This. But you got to understand the contextualization of the world that Fulci's building and what he's doing. There's a lot of shit that's not going to make any sense because, like I said before, this is so new. This is something that's never happened before. How can you think logically? If it's never happened before, the illogical can become logical. I mean, so you can't take it for face value at the end of the day.
No.
But
yeah, that's I love that scene though. So much tension, and yeah,
it's great, man. And it's really like one of the only scenes in the film that's not atmospheric and at night too. There's so many scenes in the film that are atmospheric at night. That's one of the only times you see like day, like it's just nice outside and this and that. The rest of the movie is very, very dread and very ominous and very
dark,
atmospheric and dark. And that's like the only scene that you really get shot during the day. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even like the next scene over, where I believe it's the young couple in the car.
Oh, that's a little ways down the road. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it cuts from him saving Mary to them being in the it seems like the apartment where the seance took place.
That's right. Yeah.
With Sister Teresa, I think is what her name is, the head medium, the one that foresaw or had foreseen this occurring with Mary and said that it was fate that Peter was there to save her. And that there's a reason for it. And that's another thing. It's like Fulci plays around with fate a lot in this movie. So everything in this movie feels like predestined. Like it was going to happen no matter what. So,
I mean, in reality, isn't everything predestined? Right,
exactly. But so you really can't think of it logically with things happening because of fate and it's just meant to be. So it's one of those things where, Teresa tells him like you were meant to save Mary. That was predestined, and now you guys must go to Dunwich and destroy the body. I think they have to destroy the body of Father Thomas in order to close the gateways to hell. So they have a mission that they have to complete by All Saints Day. So they have a time frame. So there's like a ticking clock element that they have to be there at a certain time before the All Saints Day is over with. So there's like a.
I was really confused by it because All Saints Day isn't like England. They don't celebrate that there.
Right.
That's Spanish, right? That's Mexico.
Well, I know they Dia de los Muertos. I know they celebrate that, but it doesn't seem like the town in Dunwich is like festive or anything like that. I think it's just a day that is not celebrated, but it's a day that is ominous because if this isn't done by that day, then the gates of hell will remain open and the earth will be completely destroyed,
subjected to the apocalypse.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Which I love the storyline, the whole storyline about that. I really do dig. Like there's anytime like there's like almost kind of like plans of an apocalypse, there's always kind of something that could cause it not to happen. So I dig it, and I like how they added that into the storyline.
Right.
Because essentially you got your two main characters who are essentially the heroes of the world.
Right.
Yeah. Possibly.
But then they team up with two more characters in Dunwich to kind of fulfill the destiny, so to speak, and help put a stop to this from happening. But I love all the scenes in Dunwich, man. The town is unraveling. There's a lot of it feels very Lovecraft, and you can definitely get hints of that in this movie. The unknown, the creeping terror that's ominous and trickling in on the town, and the whole town becoming unwinded, and there's so many scenes. I love every scene in Dunwich, man. You get so many. You get introduced to these characters. You get introduced to this character named Bob, who is just like a drifter dude who just kind of. I guess he just goes around and he's kind of like people. He's like a scapegoat for the town. There's a lot of people that blame him for terrible things that happen in the town, and they hate him, and they want to throw him in jail and lock him up. And there's a scene in this movie that's perfect atmosphere to me, perfect. And that's when Bob is like walking into this like decrepit house, and you see the wind and the trees, like it's a sandstorm, and it's just like it's so perfectly done with the atmosphere. It's one of my favorite atmosphere shots of all time. And it's just the sound design of the wind, and it just seems dark, and there's dread in the air, and it's just, oh man, it's perfectly done by Fulci. I think it's masterfully done by Fulci, honestly.
Oh yeah.
And then he goes into the house and he grabs his blow up doll and he just like drops it, and it just it inflates.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Well, I like how before he walked into that place, he's like looking around like no one's seeing me, right?
That's his smut cave or something, like where he hides all porno and all this weird shit. Like it's bizarre, man. His character is so bizarre. I don't understand what he is and what he is.
Instant inflatable Betty.
It's crazy. It just he just drops it and it inflates like automatic. Not that I have much like blow up, but
sure.
It's okay. I'll take it.
Do those things even exist anymore? I don't know that they even exist anymore.
Yeah, I don't either.
Did they ever inflate like that?
I don't know, dude.
Folks, comment section. We're not going to point you out as weird. We really want to know.
Just want to know. Is that a thing?
Did they instantly inflate? Was it a one-time use only? How?
Could have been.
Seems like a waste of money, but okay.
It's so weird, man. and then he cuts. I don't know if this. I still to this day don't know what this is. He cuts down, like he goes to, I guess, start fucking the blow up doll, and he looks down on the ground, and there's like a fetus. I don't know what it is, like covered in maggots and worms.
Yeah, it was a human body, man.
It looked like a fetus, though, dude.
I mean, maybe it could have been like a fucking dog. I don't know. It was just the sound of the worms, and of course, of course, Fulci's gonna have worms. Like, it was like maggot and worms, just kind of the sound of the gooping and
God, yes,
crawling. It was pretty gross.
Sound design is dope in this movie too.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Like I said, from the wind, from the sound of the gross extra shit on the whatever that was. I don't know. I still don't know to this day what the hell that thing was, but yeah, it's gross, dude. That's all I can say. It's really nasty. But yeah, Fulci loves close-up shots too. I noticed that he does a pan in on the actors' faces a lot, and it's close-ups, and I've always noticed that. It's really fascinating. That's another one of his little traits that he has as a filmmaker. But
even close-up shots of the gore and the grotesque as well.
Oh yeah, he never cuts away from the gore and the gross out shit. And that's what I love about him. I think of a scene where, so there's a bar in Dunwich, and it's got its usual bar patrons that hang around, and there's the bartender, I guess the owner of the bar. They're just talking, hanging out, just enjoying themselves at a bar, and they realize shit's going on in the town, and one of the guys makes a point to say, ever since Father Thomas hanged himself, Dunwich ain't been the same. It's been a lot of weird shit happening that's we can't explain. And and then all of a sudden the mirrors shatter in the bar, and it's like, okay, well, what the fuck happened there? He's like, the bartender's trying to rationalize it. And he's like, a truck could have passed by, and the vibrations, this old building, and this. He's just trying to rationalize it because I think in his mind he's like, I don't know what the fuck's happening around here. And then he tries to talk to the guys like, yeah, it's all right, man. Go back to drinking. It's fine. Nothing to worry about here. And then all of a sudden, the foundation of the building starts cracking and just depleting, and there's smoke coming out of the walls and shit. And they're just like, I don't know what to fucking say about that. We're just
doesn't he say something like the old buildings are settling or something?
Yeah, something like that. Like he's trying to rationalize it, but there's no rationalizing the shit that's going on. Like this town's going to hell. I mean, essentially. So, it's just great how he's trying to be so, everything's okay. Nothing's going on here. It's just weird, just weird shit happening. Everything's going to go back to normal. No big deal. But there's just there's no going back to normal here, man. This town's flipped on its head, and it's only getting worse. I mean, the scenes that follow this, and it's, man, some weird stuff happens. Stuff that I can't wait to get into and pick your brain about what you think about them. They keep making a point to say that this town is built on, the Salem witch trials, and that there's a witch element involved, and this and that. I think that's just to add to more lore and to pump up the horror a little bit, just to kind of like associate it with the witch burnings. And because I mean, any horror film that takes place in New England seems like they always kind of bring up the Salem witch trials and all the injustice that happened back then. So I don't know if that's just to add to the lore and the horror of the movie, but I mean, I'm not complaining about it. It's pretty cool. Works for me. I don't really see it adding to the plot other than just adding lore to the town and its history and everything like that. So I mean, it seems like just a thing. But I'm sorry, what I wrote down with the two. I'm sorry to go back, but I did write down a cool line from the Undertakers when they're sitting there on their lunch break, and one of the guys is like, You know, man, I saw a porno flick once where the guy got so worked up that he humped himself to death. I was like, this is the dialogue, dude. This is what? And the ironic thing is that the actor that actually said that line was a porno actor. So, you know, I thought that was ironic. I thought that was funny.
Maybe an added touch of his.
Maybe.
Yeah. Probably an ad lib there.
I could see some Italian screenwriters writing that one. I honestly could.
Yeah, I could too, but at the same time, I could see a porno star sitting there saying something like that as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
You gotta let me say this line.
Right. Can I please be the one to say this line? Because the other guy who was in Cannibal Holocaust was one of the filmmakers in Cannibal Holocaust. So he is and he's also in Cannibal Ferox too. So he's quite a legend in Italian horror. Along with Bob Giovanni Lombardo Radice, who plays Bob. He's been in so many Italian horror films. He's got one of those faces, man, that you recognize, and always seems to die very gruesomely in Italian horror too.
They just don't like him.
Yeah, his characters never have the best fate. They always get fucked at the end. So it's interesting, but I do want to. So we get another in Dunwich. We get introduced to Jerry, who is kind of like a psychologist, like a therapist. He is with a patient, and they're having some interesting dialogue about him trying to work out her, I don't know, her father issues and shit that she's got going on in her life. I guess it's mainly streaming from her not finding a relationship or whatever. You know, he's doing his job. He's talking to her, asking her what this means and what that means to her personally. And all of a sudden, during the session, this girl Emily pops in, which I don't think you're supposed to do. You're supposed to just pop into somebody's therapy session and just get, you know, involved in it. But yeah, she comes in, tells Jerry that yeah, she can't see him tonight. She's gonna go see Bob. And I'm like, wait a minute, is she a psychologist too? And is she seeing Bob because she's helping him, or
that's what I was getting.
I got confused by that because I was like, well, it's interesting because she can't see Jerry because she's going to go see Bob, but are her and Jerry like in an item, or is she? I didn't understand that. I didn't know where that was going.
That's what I took it as. I thought she couldn't like meet him for dinner or something,
right?
Because she had to go see Bob.
Well, she just says see Bob, so who knows what the fuck see Bob is about? It was like romantically or like courtesy call. I really don't know. I don't question it though. It's whatever. I just think it's funny she busted in on a therapy session and was completely, that's unethical, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I took it as she needed, like Bob needed some psychiatric help there. So.
Which we have to talk about Jerry. Jerry, to me, is one of the coolest fucking dudes in horror history. Like, he is a chill gentleman, really nice dude, really, really cool. Like I said, when Emily came in, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do it tonight. He's like, oh, no big deal. It's okay. We'll do it some other time. Like, he doesn't fly off the handle or anything like that. He's very calm and cool and collected about it. And, you know, there's a scene where Sandra, his patient, has a problem and she's like flipping out and losing her mind. And you know the old cliche, you see like a guy grab a girl and slap them just to kind of like get their head right and calm down and this and that. She's flipping out, this and that. He's like, hey, just calm down, no big deal. I'm here for you. I'm here to help you, whatever you need to do. Like, he's super nice. And the Emily character ends up getting killed, I guess from fright, because Father Thomas, who we didn't mention, just sporadically shows up in the movie as a vessel of evil now that he has died, and he kills off a lot of people in the town. So you have an evil priest killing people in the town through various, which is very, very crazy. The concept of that is wild. But and then Emily's dead. Her body is taken to the morgue, and her parents have a little son named John, and he's crying, and he's of course beside himself. He just lost his sister. The parents are beside themselves. Emily looked really young too. She didn't look like she was more than 20.
Yeah.
So Jerry's like, hey, taking care of little John while the parents are grieving and stuff like. He's just like a really nice dude, man. He's
he is.
Just goes above and beyond to be a gentleman and an accommodating person. He doesn't fly off the handle. He's very low key the whole time. He's trying. I think what Fulci was trying to do with him, his character, is like make him the straight man, where he's trying to bring logic and reasoning to what's going on in the town. But even still, there's a point where Jerry's just like, I can't make any sense of this, and I'm not even going to try to. I'm just going to try to survive and put it into it. So he doesn't like overthink it. He just he realizes he's in over his head, as logical he's trying to think about the situation. He realizes he's over his head, and he's just like, fuck it. I'm not going to try to figure this shit out. I'm just going to try to survive and put a stop to it. And I love he doesn't try to overanalyze it, because he does have that background of him being a psychologist. So Fulci easily could have took his character in one way, and he took his character in a complete opposite way, which I love that. I subverts expectations, keeps you guessing as the audience member. I just dig that, man. I appreciate it. And I love Jerry's character. I just think he's awesome. He's a gentleman, really nice dude, really low key and chill, and doesn't fly off the handle and lose his mind. And he just takes everything for what it is and what's going on, and he tries to just make the best of the situation and get through it. So yeah, he's a good guy, man. I just wanted to bring that up. I don't hear anybody talk about Jerry's character or give him praise or anything like that. He's great.
Yeah. I dig the calmness of him.
Yeah, very calm, very low, even keel,
very straightforward.
Yeah. So he kind of figures out that Bob's might have something to do with what's going on, because even when he hears that something's happened to Emily or that Emily's not back, I think her parents call him and ask him if they've seen her. He's like, no, she left a while ago, and they start losing their mind. And he's like, oh, it's all right, calm down. She'll probably be home any minute. No big deal. It's okay. But if anything happens, give me a call and let me know, and I can, see what I can do to help. And then he writes Bob's name down after he gets off the phone with them, so he knows in his mind that the common denominator here is Bob.
Yeah, he was like supposedly the last person to see her.
Person to see her alive, yeah. Which turns out to be the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's man, it's funny. When I wrote this down, and I can't say this because it's like a spoiler kind of for Halloween Ends, and I don't want to do that to our viewers or whatever. But there's a character. Bob reminds me of a character in Halloween Ends, and what ends up happening with him. Pretty funny. Just got that just randomly, because I just saw Ends, and then I saw this a couple days later, and I'm like, this character's kind of parallel in a way.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty neat. I had to put that.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
But it's funny. You don't feel any sympathy for Bob at the same time, because Bob does just uses Emily to kind of save himself in a sense.
Yeah.
Puts her down as bait so he can get the fuck out of Dodge.
That shit was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, after that, you really don't feel any sympathy for him. I mean, he's just a complete piece of shit. He's a degenerate. He's a low life, and he's a scumbag. And like I said, what goes around comes around. And I wonder what happened to Bob was like retribution for the way he is, and what he had coming to him. I don't know. I thought about that also while I was watching this, I was like, I wonder if that's his just due for being an asshole and supposedly doing really dark and nasty things to people in the town. There's rumors on about him. You don't know what's true because you don't know if it's just made up town rumors or whatnot, but they do say nasty things about him and what he's done or what he's tried to do with certain individuals in the town. Particularly one girl that lives in the town, and her father was one of the bar patrons. So he automatically doesn't like Bob because of I guess Bob tried to rape his daughter. I think that's what's implied. So he's out for him. He hates him already, and yeah, when that comes up, when we talk about that, we'll get into that too. Holy shit! But yeah, dude, did you want to kind of talk about one of the most infamous scenes in the movie?
Which one is that? Which one?
The couple in the car.
Love that scene.
Yep. Okay. I think we're at that point now in the movie where we can talk about that scene. So do you want to build it up, or you want me to build it up for our listeners out there?
You can. I mean, they're pretty much just making out, having a good time.
Yeah, I mean it's like a lover's lane kind of thing, two young kids in a car that getting hot and heavy. They're trying to, do their thing, and of course the old cliche, in a lot of horror movies is the girl's like, I don't feel comfortable. Why did we park here? Why are we here? I don't like this. This is something's off. The guy's like, oh, come on, babe. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. Chill. Just calm down. And this and that. Like the old cliche, you see it in a lot of horror films. It's like I said, you see it all the time. But yeah, they're parked. It's interesting because they're parked in front of, what are they parked in front of? It's like I can't remember exactly. It's like a structure.
Yeah.
But what is it? I can't remember. I only see one thing when I look at that because it focuses so heavy on one particular image that I lose track of what's going on around it. So
I'm that way too. Like I'm at a loss of where they were parked. Like, yeah, they were parked at, so it almost feels like maybe like a warehouse type deal.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
Really fast.
Yeah, I'm really lost as to where they were parked.
Same here.
Because I was paying more attention to what happens to them.
Oh God, yes, dude. So, we got to talk about the scene, man. So we have, I can't remember the name of the characters. It's just a couple, and we see Father Thomas just pop into frame, and he's hanging, and the girl sees this, and this is the most metal thing ever, the most awesome horror scene of all time, one of the most awesome horror scenes of all time. So she sees the priest hanging, Father Thomas hanging, and she starts bleeding from the eyes. And it's really cool how they did that effect. I really dig it. I love how they did it. But she starts like vomiting up her intestines and all of her organs and stuff like that in the most grotesque and sickening like scenes you'll ever see. It's really, really fascinating. The fascinating thing is the actress that played this girl really did like not vomit, but she like spilled out a lot of that stuff because you can see it's practical for the most part. Her face, and she swallowed a lot of that stuff and like threw it back up.
Oh,
it's really gross and really nasty when you think about it. But then it cuts to an obvious like fake mouth.
Yeah.
Just vomiting up intestines. It's like the fucking nastiest thing you've ever seen.
It just starts coming out.
Coming out like small intestines, bladder, everything just comes out.
Liver.
Yeah, liver. I mean, everything. And that goes on for quite a while. It's like, whoa, like you're almost like in shock. If you see this movie for the first time, you're almost in shock of what you're seeing because you never expected this to happen. And then after she's done vomiting up all her intestines, she grabs her boyfriend's head and rips his brain out from the back of his head just brained him. And it's
Yeah.
like, it really is one of the most amazing gore scenes you'll ever see.
Yeah. I would have been long gone. I would have been like, cool. You're bleeding from the eyes. I don't need to see anymore. I'm out.
The weird thing is, Fulci cuts to him and he's trying to unlock the door and he's just shaking the door, like trying to pry it open and unlock it and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't know if it's just like, you can obviously tell he's trying to get the fuck out of Dodge. He can't get the fuck out of Dodge. It never tried to roll it on the window or anything, I don't think. Break the window to get out of there. But it's almost like fate. Like, okay, it's no matter what you do, dude, you're fucked. Like, there's nothing you can do. You're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love the practical effects. I found myself wondering how they made the eyes do that, because it happens a couple times, right? The bleeding from the eyes and stuff. So I really dug the shit out of that.
Some of the power that the vessel of Father Thomas has, his evil vessel of hell that can make people bleed from the eyes when they see him. It's almost like a Medusa thing, where you see him and the sight of him is so visceral that you can't help but bleed from your eyes. I mean, that's I can think of, really. But it's cool because it's a running theme throughout the movie. A lot of people that see him end up bleeding from the eyes. So really remarkable, actually, how they did that and how that whole scene played out. It's just brilliant, man.
Yeah.
So disgusting. Whorehounds will love this scene. They've never seen this movie before. This scene alone will make them in love with this film.
Yeah. I was so captivated with the intestines and everything, and how it was just constantly spilling out of her mouth.
It's amazing, and then what amazes me about it still is that she was able to do a lot of that herself. It just blows my mind, man. Blows my mind. It's incredible.
Practical effects at its finest.
Yeah.
Italian practical effects.
When we talk about the character, I mentioned it a little bit, but the character of Dunwich, the town itself, and how this town is almost like a character in and of itself. It's funny that it's supposed to take place in New England, but a lot of location shots and stuff like this feels like it takes place in Louisiana or somewhere down south. Doesn't feel like New England. It feels like somewhere down south.
I can see that.
Louisiana, because it seems like a lot of shots in this film were the same shots that, and I know Fulci shot The Beyond in Louisiana, so it feels like he shot a lot of this in Louisiana as well. It's like you see like bayou, like a house that looks like it'd be on a bayou or something, and it wouldn't make sense to being in New England. It just wouldn't make any sense where it's at, where it's located. It just doesn't seem New England to me, which I love. I love that. It seems like a town from another world almost. It's really bizarre. It's really cool.
I could see that, and he might have filmed, given the fact that he used the same actress in both films, he might have filmed some shots while he was in. Because what came out before? Like, this came out before The Beyond, or no?
This came out a year before The Beyond. This came out in '80, and The Beyond came out in '81.
So he could have easily been filming some stuff
possible
while filming The Beyond as well.
100%. I completely get it, because there's some houses like Sandra's house, for instance. That house looks like something that would be in the backwoods of Louisiana. It does not seem like a New England. But then there's some shots of houses that do look like they'd be in New England. It's just it's Fulci taking advantage of his location shots and stuff like that. But it's so disjointed because of the different architecture of the houses in the town that you just don't know. It feels like another world. Like this feels like a town from another world that doesn't exist on this planet. It's so bizarre, but it's so cool at the same time.
Yeah, well, I mean, he could have done that to save on money and time as well. If he was already in, maybe add on shots and stuff. Who knows?
Sure.
Who knows?
For sure. I always call this is the night I wrote this down. I said City of the Living Dead, aka Night of the Transporting Dead, or that's what the zombies do in this movie, and Fulci makes no no drawbacks to it, and saying like, hey, these zombies are just they're like moving around, and they're transporting from one place to another. They're just
Yeah, I noticed that.
I'm drawing a blank on the word. The same thing that
teleporting.
Sorry, God Almighty, I don't know why. But they're doing the Jason Voorhees Part 8 thing. Like they're teleporting, and just, which is fucked, because as somebody running from the zombies, what chance do you have? They're just gonna teleport in front of you, and you're fucked. Like, it's terrifying, really. To be honest with you, there's nothing you can do.
No. There's really no place to hide. Nothing.
No place to hide. Like, you're just done. It's terrifying, really.
Yeah.
But it's funny that most of the zombies in the film are the dead that Father Thomas killed, pretty much. Like, you have the Emily character, the couple in the car, they're zombies as well. Later on, a couple of characters that we thought were going to make it to the end that didn't. It's surprising, but they become the living dead as well. So it's a lot of, like, it's not like a high zombie body, like a high amount of zombies, like a large number of them, but it's effective because the makeup effects on the zombies also look really cool. They're very different. The carnage on their face and everything like that is very different from even like Zombie 2, when Fulci did Zombie 2, where he almost called them, I think he did call them the walking flower pots, because they were dried and they were cracked and this and that, like Burial Ground, the zombies in that movie, very dried out, disgusting dust zombies. But this movie, they're very wet and gory, and it's like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But the makeup effects in this are fantastic.
But they had snot dripping off of them.
They had like gross boogers and stuff. It's really disgusting. Like, there's so many disgusting things happening in this movie.
Yeah, they were pretty nasty looking.
It adds so much to the horror and the visceral nature of this film. Okay, can we talk about the Bob scene since we're getting there?
Yeah.
So we discussed the girl puking the guts out. That's one of the most famous gore scenes that you'll ever see in horror. And we have another scene that's just as infamous, if not more. Well, I wouldn't say more. It's on the same line. Is the so Bob is hiding out in this dude's garage, and which is weird. Why would you be hiding out in some dude's garage in his car? But he is. He's hiding out in there. And coincidentally enough, it's the same guy who his daughter was the one that Bob supposedly tried to rape. She comes in to the garage to get some weed that she stashed, in like a hiding spot. So she's token up. Her parents don't know about it in her dad's car. I don't know, somewhere in the garage, maybe. I don't know, no fucking idea. But she sees Bob in the back seat. And she's like, "Dude, what are you doing in my dad's car? What's fucking going on?" He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just needed a place to hang out for a while and lay low and this and that." So she's like, "All right, cool. You wanna smoke this with me?" And he's like, "Okay, yeah, cool." And she's like, "Oh, but we got to be real quick because my dad's around and he'll fucking flip out if he sees it." And then all of a sudden, like, not 2 seconds later, her dad comes flying in and sees Bob, and I guess it just clicks with him. He's like, "This is the same dude that tried to, like, molest my daughter." So he grabs Bob, slings him into like this tool bench kind of work area, and this drill comes on as Bob like hits it, and he grabs Bob's head and is like pushing it closer and closer to the drill. So like it's the same thing Fulci did with the the splinter of the eye in Zombie 2.
Mm-hmm.
You see this scene play out, and it's going on so slow, and it's like, oh, there's no way Fulci's going to show that. Like his head's getting closer and closer to the drill. The drill's just spinning, spinning, spinning. He's pushing. The guy's pushing his head, and he's fighting it. And that goes. It feels like it goes on for like 5-10 minutes, man. And you're like, okay, as an audience member, you're like, all right, when his head gets to the drill, it's going to cut away. You're not going to see anything.
Mm-hmm.
Not with Fulci. No, Fulci showed everything. So when that drill goes into his head, it's a practical effect, and you see the drill go through his head, and it's fucking gnarly, dude.
Yeah. It's probably one of my favorites of the whole film.
Oh my god, dude, it's amazing how they did that.
Mm-hmm.
It really is to me. I mean, this is 1980, dude. That had been tough to do.
A lot of it was tough.
Intruder had kind of a similar scene, but that was done like 8 years after. Like they had a lot of time to get that shot, even though Intruder was really, really low budget. Still, they had time to get the practical effects like perfected at that time. Dude.
Yeah.
1980, this looks amazing. It's incredible.
And again, he was pushing the buck.
Yeah.
You know, I think he was pushing. I don't know. He was definitely pushing against ratings at this point.
Yeah, it's remarkable, dude. I mean, you see that scene and you see it play out, and you just, as an audience member, you're like, "There's no way they're going to show that." Fulci does not shy away from showing the gore. He really does not.
Zero fucks given.
Yeah, zero, absolutely none. And I love him. He's a true rebel in film, and I love him.
Mm-hmm.
But man, dude, so we have our main characters, Mary and Peter, traveling from New York to Dunwich. They're falling behind. They're running out of time. As they get to the town, they start to like lose track of time, and they're like, "Oh shit, we have to hurry now." Like, kind of like procrastinated too much, and now we have to get this done really fast. So they meet up with Jerry and Sandra, his patient, who is confused and doesn't understand how a dead woman that she saw in the morgue hours ago is now laying in her house. So she doesn't know why that's happening, not realizing that the dead are moving around and attacking. So those two get together with Peter and Mary, and this is the four that we have to kind of try to stop the apocalypse from occurring. And there's a scene where they're all together, and this is when they first meet Jerry. Oh, this is when Peter and Mary first meet Jerry and Sandra, and they're talking about what's going on in Dunwich. And Jerry's like, "Oh, okay, now this is starting to add up. Now I'm starting to find there's strange things happening around this town." And then all of a sudden it cuts to something happening. The doors fly open, and they just get sprayed with maggots, and it's nonstop. And Fulci covered these actors in real maggots. That was that was real. Can you imagine doing something like that today and getting away with something like that today? That is unheard of. You would never have that happen today.
No.
These are real maggots, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, these actors just covered, just spraying maggots in their face. And there's a scene where Sandra is like just sick. She just can't take it. And it's gotta be, I don't know if it's real or not, but it looks fucking real. She just throws up. And it's like gross as shit. This movie is so disgusting, dude. It really is, man. When you really think about what's happening and the shit you're seeing, it's so nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
oh god, that scene just gets I can't fuck with I can't with it, man. I got the maggots and stuff like that.
And that's the thing, like they really had kudos to those actors because Like I've dealt with maggots at work, you know, and like that's just even just the distinct smell of a maggot is
Disgusting, man.
yeah. So I can only imagine having maggots rocketed towards my face, and yeah, I probably would have quit on the film. I'd have been like, "You want to do what to me?" Yeah, no, that's not fucking happening. I quit.
Can you imagine how that scene played out where he had to explain to the actors that he was going to cover them in real maggots, or maybe he didn't. He just surprised them. I don't know. I don't know how that went down, but damn, I'm interested.
He goes up to Mary. Listen, so you know how you didn't want to show your boobs in this movie, so I'm just gonna cover you in maggots.
I got something for you, ass now. Oh, dude, yeah, that was ugh. It's so gross, man. But yeah, so Jerry gets a call from John, who is Emily's little brother,
Mhm.
probably about 7 or 8 years old, little
Yeah.
kid. And he's like, he calls Jerry and says, "Oh, Emily came back and murdered my parents." And he's like, "What? Really? Like, just stay there. Like, we're coming to get you." And it cuts back to John. He's on the phone, and they pan up, and there's like this blood spot on the ceiling, which is
Mhm.
weird. Which I guess they were upstairs and they were ravaged or whatever upstairs. And he saw that and he went downstairs to call him. But it's one of the only times where Fulci doesn't cut to the gore. I thought that was pretty fascinating. I wonder if they
Mhm.
ran out of time to kind of shoot that scene, and whether maybe it just didn't look right to Fulci. He's like, no, I don't want to show this at all. It doesn't look real enough to me, or it's not pleasing to me. I don't think it's
Mhm.
right. So I thought that was pretty interesting because Fulci normally doesn't cut away from that stuff, but in that particular instance, you don't see it. So
Yeah.
unique. Um, but then John takes off and he's running. This is one of the really coolest scenes that you'll see is, John's running from the zombies that are, just teleporting around him. And there's a zombie that shows up on the bridge and it comes down to him, and it's really good. Grabs his jacket, and it's really tense because this little kid, you don't want anything. Of course, you as an audience member, you're like, they're not going to hurt that kid. They're not going to do anything to them.
Mhm.
The tension's really there, and it's really interesting because like you think about it, you're 7, 8 years old and you're running from teleporting zombies, like you're fucking terrified.
Mhm.
And he plays it off. The kid actor plays it off really good. I mean, his dubbing's kind of weird. He's got like a little Bob thing going on. All the Fulci fanatics out there will get that reference. Um, but yeah, his dubbing's a little odd and stuff like that. But the actor himself, the young kid that played John, did a really good job looking terrified and scared and you know just disheveled and just completely like done, lost.
Mhm.
Pretty amazing how they're able to do that with that kid and able to him to really give a really really good performance. Pretty much on body language alone.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting toward the end here, bud. Like I said, our main four, they try to break into Father Thomas's tomb to kind of destroy what's left of his body.
Mhm.
He's not there. He's gone.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like the fact that they slid so it looks like a sarcophagus, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, they slid it open, and then yet there's a ladder that goes down into a crypt. I
yeah.
really dug that.
Yeah, well, the location for the final confrontation is great, man. Because you get down to this crypt, and it's really like it's like fucking like spider webs, and it really looks like a decrepit crypt, and it's
Mhm.
a great place for like a final confrontation.
Mhm.
Uh, it's really cool how Fulci was able to utilize that set piece and kind of make that work for the final battle. Uh,
Mhm.
so it's funny. You don't expect, spoiler alert. We're talking spoilers here. Christopher George's character, you don't expect him to die. It kind of surprised me Cassandra, she had died, which, kind of expected that to happen, but
Yeah.
her body came back as a zombie and did the brain rip from Christopher George. Another scene where somebody gets the brains just ripped out of their skull. It's really crazy. Apparently, there's no skull there. It's just like meat, just covering your brains. But I don't mind it because I think these zombies have the strength to kind of, well, you say that, but then, when they grab John, his jacket won't rip. So I guess it doesn't really make sense. But I thought about, they're so strong, they're zombies, they can just rip someone's brains out and crush their skull and it just not be a thing. So I didn't really think too much about it. But yeah, Christopher George's character dies, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming.
I didn't.
Thought he would make it to the end.
I thought he was. I thought he was going to be a final character.
Yeah, when I first saw the movie, I thought so too. I was like, there's no way. We've been with him pretty much since the beginning of the movie. There's no way to kill him off. They did. They killed him off.
Classic Fulci right there.
I don't think Fulci and Christopher George got along on set either. I think they were kind of combating a lot. So maybe Fulci was just like, I want to kill this character off. I mean, I do, because I think there's a joke behind the scenes where Fulci always carried like a bag, and he had his pipe in it and his tobacco in it. And somebody one day filled the bag with maggots, put maggots in it. And Christopher George was known to be kind of like a jokester on set, so they think that it was him that did it because he was so pissed off with Fulci for doing that, what he did to him, covering him with. So I think those two really didn't get along on set, from what I hear. So the fact, after finding that out, I find out that Christopher George's character is killed off. I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense now. He probably wasn't even in the script to get killed off, but Fulci's like, I'm going to make some revisions. I want to kill his character off. Yeah.
It's going to be effective. It's going to be effective.
Totally going to be effective.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting because, you look at Christopher George as an actor, and like you would think that he would be more professional instead of a jokester. That's odd to me that they say that he was a jokester, but you never really know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was. I don't think Christopher George was ever a problem on any set he was on. I think he was just a serious actor that wanted to be taken seriously, and he just didn't gel with Fulci for whatever reason. I mean, Fulci was very stern about his script and what he wanted in his script, and I think Christopher George might have ad-libbed a lot of stuff, so maybe that pissed him off. Or anything could have happened. I just know that there was conflict there, and that the two kind of butted heads on a lot of situations on set. So
interesting.
I thought that was pretty interesting and fascinating. Which Fulci has been known to be combative with his actors and sometimes not get along with some people, and but he's also been known to love his actors and really cherish them and take care of them. So it's like, it's what Fulci you're going to get what day. I mean, I think, mostly people say nothing but positive things about him. So
yeah. I don't know. I that's the feel I get off of him, is he's a very, very professional, director and everything. So I could see where he would be pissed off if somebody was horsing around on set and stuff.
Totally. But yeah, dude, the ending, that when they confront Father Thomas in the crypts, dude, Jerry stabs him, and I swear it looks like he stabbed him in the dick. I mean, he hits him so low with that cross, man.
Yeah.
It punches through him, and it's like his torso is like stupid long. And I get it, because they're trying to do the effect, and they don't want to really stab the actor, so they kind of made a fake torso. But it it literally is like the longest torso I've ever seen on a human being, and it goes all the way down. And when he gets stabbed, it's like he stabs him, and there's guts there because he's supposed to be stabbing him in the stomach, but where he's stabbing him is closer to his dick, so it's
That's,
like where
I thought he straight up stabbed him right in the fucking cock too.
it really looks like he hit him that low. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, you
That's
can't
such a low blow.
Yeah, it's literally, quite literally a low blow. But yeah, this destroys Father Thomas, and then it kind of, I wouldn't say it completely reverts what's happened, because at the end there's a little bit of ambiguity there. And I think I know why. I realize what happened, and a lot of people complain about the ending. They say, "Oh, well, they stopped the evil, they stopped it," and I'm like, technically they stopped him, but they didn't do it in time. Yeah, there's some dialogue.
They were too late.
Yeah, there's some dialogue in the movie saying like, "Oh, it's past All Saints Day," so they didn't kill him or destroy his body before All Saints Day. Excuse me.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
people
because that was the thing. They were supposed to destroy him before midnight.
or midnight on All Saints Day, yeah,
Yeah,
but they didn't.
and they didn't.
Yeah, so when people complain about the ending, I'm like, no, I mean it makes sense because they even explained it through dialogue in the movie. Pay attention, it's there. So
yeah,
because I mean the movie does it abruptly ends, and you know Jerry and Mary get out of the tomb where they just had a hellacious fight with so many things, and then they see the police bringing John, and he's running toward them, and it's kind of like they're happy to see him, but then all of a sudden they start getting like they're laughing and like happy, and then all of a sudden they get stern and serious, and then all of a sudden it gets cuts to John, and there's like it freezes on him, and then just cracks, and then it just ends, and it's like, well, it's a very abrupt ending. But there's a lot of like controversy with the ending too, where they say that the editor kind of fucked up the film reel, and that's why they had to leave it like that. Or I've heard a story where he spilled coffee on it and fucked up the film and scrap it and just do that. And there's a lot of like stories behind it. So really the true ending, who knows what it is. It's fascinating I mean, unfortunately we'll never get it from Fulci because he's long since passed, and I would love to know what his original ending would have been, what he thought how the movie should have ended. So it's kind of a bummer, really. I would love to know, just as such a fan of his and such a fan of his work and how he likes to, lead up to something. Like the end of The Beyond is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And I know this probably would have been this exact same kind of ending. Had whatever the editor, whoever fucked up the film reel or the footage or whoever did it. I mean, like I said, it's just a shame that you just never really going to know how you would have went.
But and again, that abrupt ending, sometimes it doesn't work for people. I felt that it was kind of effective because you're left with the sense of, oh shit, they were too late. This is still going on. This is still going to happen. Essentially the apocalypse is going to go down regardless.
That's what I take from it.
Yeah.
Same.
So that's the way I feel about it. I feel that they're too late. Now you're going to have zombies. The only difference is you're not going to have Father Thomas because he's dead now. Fully, I guess. I would have. I think that the ending would have been different in the sense that maybe it would have shown like Christopher George's character behind the kid ripping the kid's brains out or something. Maybe that would have been the ending. But I dig the way it ended.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's never bothered me at all. I know it bothers a lot of people. I never really saw a big issue with it or a big problem with it. I said for what happened or whatever occurred, they made the best of it, and it's just like I'm not even making a complaint about it or anything like that. I'm just really curious what could have been Fulci's idea on how he wanted this film to end. based on just the fact the way he ended The Beyond, which I think is one of the most brilliant endings in horror. I mean, I wonder what he was thinking here, because I mean, The Beyond was made afterwards, so maybe he was kind of thinking of a Beyond ending with this one, and then
that would have been interesting.
yeah, and then maybe he ended The Beyond the way he did because he wasn't able to end City of the Living Dead the way he wanted to. I mean, you could speculate, and this is not. It's really up in the air because, like I said, we can't ask Fulci. He's gone, so we can only speculate. But it's fun to kind of speculate at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Oh yeah, left with again as an audience member, left with kind of a sense of you can piece the puzzle at the end. You know, kind of like how they did in the beginning with
Yeah.
Father Thomas.
I was just gonna say that it's like it bookended well with you filling in the blanks in the beginning with the character of Father Thomas, then you filling in the blanks at the end with the vagueness of the ending. It's really man, that's really cool, man. That's a cool concept. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool stuff, man.
I dig it. Fulci, man, Fulci.
It's one of my favorite directors, dude. I love him.
It's such a good movie. You know, I can't praise it enough. It is a fun little film.
Now, it's not a film you could sit down and watch with the family and anything like that. Let's just make no mistakes about it. It's hard to watch this movie without people with a more open mind. That kind of like, if something happens that just doesn't make any sense logically or this and that, it's hard for them to get past that. Then they're probably not going to have a good time with this. But if you can like just open your mind and be like, okay, this is a nightmare world. This is something that's never happened before. Things are going to happen that are just illogical, and I just have to go. Then if you have that open mind watching this, you're going to love this movie. You can absolutely adore it. So it all depends on your mindset and what you're able to kind of look past and what you're able to actually accept.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we reached the ending. Are you wanting to get into ratings?
We can, man. I'm ready to give my ratings. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a big surprise for a lot of people what I'm going to rate this, but
yeah, a 2.
Yeah, it gets a 1.5. 1.5 on my letterbox rating.
I can see it. I can see it.
I was debating on this time show. I'm like, should I do a 1.5 or just do a half? Maybe I should. I don't know.
Yeah. Have we rated anything that low?
No, dude, we haven't rated anything that low. I mean,
you know what? I think I did one time. I think I did. It was I think it was. I forget what fucking movie it was. It was a shark movie.
Oh man, I think the lowest I've rated is a 2. I don't know if I rated it lower than that.
Yeah, I think I rated a half on a shark film.
Well, you're definitely not getting a half, a 2, or anything from this one. I mean, it's not happening. I mean, you want to go first, brother? You want me?
I mean, I can. You know, when it comes down to talking about this film, honestly, I can't see anyone else making this movie. It is what it is. You have the classic Fulci grossness of maggots and worms. Of course, you have to have that with a Fulci film, or at least zombies that Fulci did. You know. So, and the way that he depicted the zombies or in this film are different. He thought outside of the box with this one because of the whole teleporting thing. I dig it. Definitely a different concept. It almost adds to the thought process of no matter what you do, this is going to happen. And I guess that just brings even more depression and just dourness of this film to light. But all around, I can't see anyone ever making this movie other than Fulci.
Oh yeah,
this is stamped 100% Fulci all the way. And you know, at the end of the day, it just goes to show our appreciation and love for his films, because once again, it's a masterpiece from him.
Right.
everything about this film, I had fun with. Um, I can't say anything bad about this film. The characters were likable. I was upset when Christopher George, you know, abruptly dies in this movie. And again, it just goes to show that no matter what, that there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And with this film, even your main character, what you think is your main character, dies. So I dug it. 5-star.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
You know.
Hell yeah. Well, Fulci to me, Fulci's films really do feel like Fulci's films. He does have, like you said, his stamp on his films. The atmosphere in his films are second to none. In terms, it's interesting because Bava and Fulci kind of set themselves apart in atmosphere. They both do it as effective as it can ever be done, but in their own ways. It's really interesting. It's really fascinating. I'm not trying to compare Bava with Fulci. I wouldn't do that. I could just say that those two capture atmosphere more perfect than even Carpenter does atmosphere amazing as well. But I think those three probably did atmosphere better than anyone else in cinema history, man. I mean, they really have just this way about capturing dread and just tension and dreariness and doom and gloom in their film. Not so much Bava. I mean, you can kind of Bava has more style in his atmosphere, if that kind of makes any sense. But Fulci definitely has more dread and doom and gloom in his atmosphere. It feels like hell is breaking. It really does feel like hell is being unleashed on this little town, and just nothing they can do is going to help them to stop it. And it's just the inevitable almost. Like I said, there's a lot of like H.P. Lovecraft going on with Fulci. In this particular instance, and like I said, I don't want to make the comparison too much because it's not a H.P. Lovecraft story at all. It's just more of the feel you get. And Fulci, like I said, does this better in his own way than anybody. I mean, that's what I love about him is he captures a feel in his films that make them undeniably his films, and couple that with the amazing, absolutely incredible special effects in this movie, and how they're able to make a chick vomit up her own intestines and yank her boyfriend's brains out of the back of his skull and make these characters' eyes bleed and drill a hole through this man's head and make it look so damn effectively real and just amazing just all around special effects. I think he had the same special effects artist throughout his run in the 80s, and it really shows because all of his effects feel like they're at the top of their game in every film. Coupled with the story is really simple, but it's so effective. You get invested in the characters. You want to see them succeed at the end of the day. You don't want to see all hell break loose and destroy the planet as we know it. Or maybe you do. Maybe you're just a nihilist and you just don't give a fuck. I mean, you get like an association with the characters, especially Christopher George's character Peter, who is just these one-liners that he says are great. Like there's a line when they're in the cemetery and they're walking around and he's like, well, hell, I'm glad this didn't happen in Arlington or something like that. And like that was just him doing his thing and just making a joke. But at the same time, it's right because like they wouldn't have made it in time. So it's a poignant joke, and it makes sense for his character to say something like that. Just love the character. I love the character. I think Jerry is one of the nicest dudes in horror history. I mean, just a stand-up guy, like I said before, just really, really awesome, really genuine, and wanting to at one time figure out what's going on, but then when he has the information handed to him, he's just like, I can't believe this. This doesn't make any sense. So what do we do now? He's wanting to put a stop to it. He's putting himself out there as a hero. and you just don't get that very often. You feel like he's not reluctantly a hero; he just wants to be a hero for the greater good of mankind. And
Mm-hmm.
he's just a genuine dude. He doesn't, fly off the handle with Sandra, who's flipping out and losing her shit. And he doesn't smack her around, that old cliche. He doesn't do any of that. He's super genuine. He cares a lot about this kid. He wants to save him and protect him and shield him from all the evil and all the nasty shit that's happening around him. He's consoling him at the funeral and at the wake. Excuse me, at the wake. And he's just a genuine person. And I just the gore, the effects, the atmosphere, the tone, the dread, the town. It's its own character. Um, all these scenes of amazing atmosphere. Like Fulci does it better than anyone, man. He is what he is. He's a maverick. He's a rebel. I love his stuff. This movie is one of my favorites, and I give it a 5 out of 5, easy.
Definitely.
Like I said, I do like The Beyond a teeny bit more because it's one of my favorite films of all time. But
Yeah.
City of the Living Dead, I'm telling you, dude, it's up there. It's so close. Like when like knocks on the door, and I guess depending on my mood, it could be, I don't think it's going to be more effective than Beyond for me. But at the same time, it's like it could easily be in my top 15, 20. I mean, no question. I love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's so much fun covering it. I love covering Fulci. I'm so glad we did. We dabbled a little bit with Zombie 2, which I feel like it's been a year since we've done that review.
I
Probably a
think
little.
we did it. I think we did our first zombie month back in like February of last year.
Wow. So yeah, it's been a minute, and I feel like we haven't really touched on a lot of Fulci since we did that. So really come back to him and revisit his stuff and cover it and discuss it and kind of bring our own interpretations to the table when it comes to this movie. That was really fun, and I'm so glad we decided to do this one when we did.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I could talk about this movie, but I'm going to shut up because people are probably tired of hearing me get down on my knees and below it. So, and I'm just going to say, hey, it was fun. It's a great episode. I had a blast covering this one, man.
Definitely. Yeah, we've been itching to do Fulci for a while too. So
Have we?
And yeah, and to what you were saying, out of all three films, this has to come into a close second because The Beyond is number one out of the three films. House by the Cemetery, I don't know, maybe I need to watch that more often. But I don't connect with it as much as I do with this and The Beyond.
It's because well, I don't want to get too far ahead because we will cover The Beyond soon. But it's almost like, spoilers for any. No, I'm not even gonna go there. We'll discuss that when we discuss it when we get to that point. But yeah, had a blast with this one, homie. This was fun. So glad we got to cover the man, the Godfather of gore, the Italian Godfather of gore. Herschel Gordon Lewis is always known as the Godfather of gore in America, but I think Fulci is truly the Godfather of gore. I mean, his gore is just second to none, man. It's just like on another level, and you just love it. You love seeing it. As a gore hound, someone that loves, we love every movie. We encompass every horror film. We have gorehound, a little bit of gorehound in us for sure. We also have movies where we don't need a lot of gore. We can be fine without it. I mean, but it speaks to the true gorehound in both of us, this movie, and what they were able to accomplish, even in 1980, which was really effective. I mean, you got to think, Friday the 13th came out in 1980. Like those are kind of mind blowing to people when that movie came out. Maniac came out in 1980. There were some heavy hitting films that came out in 1980, dude. So it's in terms of gore, man. I mean, if you think Cannibal Holocaust 2 had some pretty gnarly gore, like Italian gore is just like it was a trendsetter in a way. To go a little bit more visceral, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. Well, I think once, like we've said in the past, once they lifted up all the restrictions in Italian cinema, it was all free game,
Mhm.
and it really shined, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm so happy for it because, man, you got some memorable stuff because of that.
Definitely. Definitely.
Good stuff, though, man. I had fun. That was a good one.
Oh yeah. You ready to land it?
Yep. Ready
Cool. Well, folks, we appreciated you watching our episode on City of the Living Dead from 1980, and we hope we didn't ruin anything for you. Still, it's a fun film, so make sure that you figure out a way to watch it. If you're an avid collector, you do not have this in your collection, I highly recommend you get it, especially Blue Underground cut. I don't believe there's any other really cuts out there, because no one else has picked it up since, right?
I know, I think it's Scorpion put out a Blu-ray, which I still want to get. They actually had it titled The Gates of Hell. That's a cleaned up print, and I know it's probably a little bit more cleaned up than the Blue Underground print. So, I mean, there's probably a cleaner print out there. I'm really curious about that, been interested in that. I think that one's out of print now, though, so it's going to be harder to kind of get your hands on a copy of that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see it, I mean, and it's a reasonable price. If you do see it, man, you got to jump on it when you can. I mean, this is certainly a movie I would love to, at a reasonable price, find the Scorpion Blu-ray and add it to the collection, no doubt.
Definitely.
But yeah, I know that was the more recent edition that came out for it. Pretty sure that's the most updated and cleaned up version too, unless Blue Underground decides to do the 4K, which they've been putting out a lot of 4Ks lately. So who knows? They might do this one, even though I don't know if they have the rights since Scorpion put it out. I'm not quite sure how that works. So
Yeah.
like I said,
did 88 Films might have put it out too.
Yeah, and Arrow put it out too, I believe. They put out a really gorgeous, like, one of their, how they do their box sets. They did a box set of this too. But it was only Region 2, which is a shame. I don't have a Region 3 player, so I couldn't get it at the time. But it's so beautiful, man. It's kind of like, I think it's kind of like this artwork, only it's touched up and cleaned up a little bit and a little bit more poppy. And it really looks fantastic. I wanted it so bad. I was going to pull the trigger on it, but I couldn't justify spending the price on it when I can't even actually play it in my player because it's Region 2. So
yeah,
I had to pass on it, which I hate. I would love to have that in the collection, just as almost a display piece, really, just to kind of show off how amazing artwork is. So
yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a Region 1 release from Arrow.
Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers that they're going to do a 4K release of this. I hope so, because they've done New York Ripper, they've done Zombie, so maybe we're going to get a 4K of this soon. Who knows?
Definitely.
Can only hope.
Well, folks, we're going to go ahead and be letting you go. Make sure that you head over to our Facebook group where we will let you join and just be a part of the community, share memes, joke around, get discussions going. We always like seeing interaction in there. And folks, if you have seen Lucio Fulci's work, leave a comment down below. Talk about his films.
Yeah.
We would love to hear your takes, especially on this one with the abrupt ending and everything. So
now this is one I would love to get people's take on if they've seen it.
Definitely.
I forgot to mention my friend at work. He brought up this was years ago when I first started with Home Depot. He brought it up. It was probably about 10 years ago when I worked with this guy. Good guy. His name was Mike. He was great. Worked with him for a while, but he knew I was a horror guy. He knew I was a horror fan. So he's like, hey man, I watched this movie back in the day and I can't think of it, but the only scene I can remember is this chick puking up her guts in a car. And I was like, oh, I know exactly what that is. So I told him it was this movie, and he went out and picked it up and watched it. And then after he watched it, he came back to me and said, yep, that was the movie, dude. Thank you so much that's been bothering me for years. I couldn't think of the title. I wanted to see it again. and he said, "Thank you for doing that," because I watched it, revisited it, and I had a blast with it. I had so much fun. He's like, I was down in some beers, I was chilling, and I was watching this, and I was almost in like complete nostalgia mode, as seeing it again, like when I was a kid, and being completely shocked by what I was seeing with this girl just puking up her guts. And I was like, man, I'm glad I could help you out with that. I know there's movies that I still think of when I was a kid that I saw that I can't think of the titles for, and I wish I could. But yeah, I love doing that, helping people get that monkey off their back and find the movie that you kind of forgot about when they were younger. But yeah, that was the story with him, and I thought about that when I was watching the scene again. I was thinking about my buddy Mike, and hopefully he's all right. I have lost touch with him over the years, and like I said, man, it was cool to kind of help him figure out that movie and get it back in his collection and have him watching it. So he gave it a glowing review. He's like, yeah, man, that was awesome, very fun, very different, not what I'm used to as far as what I've seen. So he's like, but I did like it, and I do recommend it. I'm like, sweet, that's awesome, man.
It's awesome. It's always fun guiding people into the direction that they missed out, or
Oh, yeah.
lost contact with a film.
Yeah, I think we all have films out there like that. I mean, there's some that we think back on when we saw when we were really young that we probably shouldn't even been watching when we were that young, but we don't know what they are, and we fight to kind of figure it out. And there's only vague scenes we remember, so it's hard. I mean, I'm in a lot of groups that people will post that like, hey, can anyone help me out? And I'm like, I know what they're asking. They're asking about a movie. They're going to put a scene that's very vague, and they're going to have a bunch of people commenting on trying to figure out what it is. So, I see that quite often in groups and stuff like that. So if you guys, I mean, in the Midnight Monster Corner podcast group, in our group, if you guys have that and you're trying to figure out a title of a movie, by all means, drop it down in the comments. Me and Corey will try to help you out. And, we got great moderators and stuff like that. Have seen a lot of stuff, and they can help out too, man. Like I said, we're in like a cinema club, and we just want to help each other out and discuss and talk about our love for film, and when we're able to help each other out as fans and as brothers and sisters, and just human beings just enjoying the art of cinema, that's always a plus, dude.
Definitely well put. Well, folks, we appreciate you. Later, guys.
Later, guys.